How'd she do this week with all the training stuff?
She really does not like this thing.
Okay.
So and I try to do it with her every day for probably like 15-ish, 20 minutes.
Sure.
And then there are some periods of time where I'll like put it on her for probably like 40 minutes.
Sure.
And just kind of
Expose
put
her.
her in her spot and like leave her alone. Just so she's like, because she's kind of shaking right now. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah.
And like with the stuff where like having her go to her place, like I basically have to start with her right in front of it. Otherwise she'll try and run into my room or like run to another room or anything like that.
Sure.
And so she doesn't like really do it. Yesterday I had like two of my good friends over that she's very comfortable with and had her just do it without the collar. Which I had to like apply a little like pressure on the leash when I said place, but then she went there and sat.
Gotcha. So all that stuff is normal.
Okay.
Because now we're putting in discipline.
Right.
No one likes discipline. The other thing is, typically we would start with the heel.
Yeah.
And we did place because of weather and stuff. So today we're gonna do the heel because walking helps alleviate stress.
Yeah.
Okay. And she starts to associate like, oh, collar doesn't just mean, you know, I'm gonna go here and not move for a period of time. It means I'm gonna go for a walk and stuff.
Yeah.
So all of the stuff that you're noting right now is completely normal.
Okay.
It sounds like you're getting a little bit of shutdown, which is what this is.
Yeah.
So working with the heel is gonna allow us to break through that shutdown.
Okay.
Because the more she does it and it goes unaddressed, the more that becomes like her response to the collar, and of course that's not what we're wanting.
Because like I try to not let her like do it, like even if she's lays down on the floor and she like looks at me like screw you, no. I'm like, okay, we're gonna like you have to move. And I only let her lay down and like not do it if I say break and she doesn't come off. Like in the house, I just kind of let her be.
And that's fine because break means you're done.
Gets up because she's just curious about something else.
Yes, and that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
So technically with break, she doesn't have to get off. Right? So that's perfectly fine. So we're gonna start with the heel today. That's gonna help, expose her more. She's start associating, oh, we're gonna go outside, stuff like that. Putting it on her and having not do anything with it is also a thing you can do.
Okay.
So like you could just put it on her for an hour, but not do anything. Okay. So she's getting more exposure. Not uncommon for the dog while they have the collar on to like be like real mopey and stuff, but it's just continuous exposure. So everything, nothing out the ordinary. Okay. Especially when we get more insecure dogs and stuff. Like I get some dogs like they're completely not phased. They just live in life. And I get other dogs more timid, more kind of shut down. They tend to be the more nervous or anxious dogs. So none of that stuff is out the ordinary. Okay. Anything else?
No, that's really it.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on the heel today.
When she does this, like, should I comfort her or should I just leave it?
Just leave her be. Yeah. And let me have you go to move a little bit this way.
Sure.
There we go. Yeah, it's best to ignore her and let her process herself.
Okay.
Because dogs don't understand consoling, you know? They cheat. So even if you pet, so technically if you pet her, right, your intention is to console, right? Your intention is to help her feel better. But her brain interprets it as reinforcement. Oh, I should be shut down and nervous and anxious when I have this on. Okay? So it's best to just ignore. And then as we work with her more and teach her more things, we're gonna make her learn how to break out of that mental state. Okay? So we're gonna start with the heel. I teach heel on the left traditionally. That work for you?
Yeah, I'm left-handed.
Okay. So here with the heel, there's gonna be three things, three major things to pay attention to. Is I'm gonna say the word turn, the word tap, or the words pull to your left, okay?
Turn, tap, pull to your left.
Correct. So if she gets ahead of you like this, I'm gonna say turn, and when I say that, you're gonna make a 180 turn to immediate right like this, okay? She's gonna pass you, I'm gonna say turn, 180 turn like this. She passes, turn, like this, turn, good. She passes, turn, and you wanna keep it as fluid as possible. What we don't wanna do is a rounded turn, which is this, okay? You don't wanna do that. When I say turn, just 180 opposite way, okay? When I say tap, that's gonna be one press of the button. Okay, so if I were to say tap, 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 that would be a rhythm. If I said tap, 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 that would then be a rhythm, okay? The last thing would be pull to your left. So as you're walking, if she happens to go to your right side, you're gonna keep moving, pull to your left and tap as I say tap to bring her over to the left side. Okay. So if we combine these things together, what it would look like is you're walking, she gets ahead, turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. She passes, turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. She passes, turn, tap. Okay. So I'm going to coach through all of it, but those are the 3 main things to listen out for. Questions about any of that stuff?
So when doing the 180 turn, I only start tapping after I turn around.
Right. As soon as you hear me say the word tap, so I might say turn, tap, tap, you would kick in right then. And then when I say the word good, I'm marking something that she's doing that I like.
Yeah.
So it's really for you to recognize, not so much for her. Okay.
I was going to say, so should I like say good to her, or it doesn't really matter?
For now, we don't have to worry about it. As you get more comfortable with the exercise, you technically can. You know, it's just right now I want you to focus on just keeping her at your left side.
Sure.
And then we'll add on stuff if needed. Okay?
Should I keep the leash, like should I hold it here or should I let it go?
So what you're gonna do is go ahead and give some slack here, and I'm gonna have you hold the leash at that first knot.
This one?
Right there, okay? So we wanna give her slack so that she can make the mistake of getting ahead.
Sure.
So if she were to be sitting up, you would see like a J in your leash at the bottom of it, you know, because it's slack, and you want that J to kind of be at armpit level. Any lower than that, they tend to step over and get tangled up. Any shorter doesn't give her enough length to make mistakes. Exactly. Okay. Other questions?
No, I think that's it.
So I'm going to coach you through it. What's our number currently at?
Right now it's at 36.
36?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just give a test tap here. Okay, we'll start with that. So go ahead and move forward and relax your arm. Good. Turn, tap, tap, tap. Keep forward, tap, tap, tap. There you go, good. Yep, keep relaxed. Turn, tap. Good, pull to your left, tap. Good, relax, good. Forward. Turn, tap, 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 tap. Good. Turn, tap, tap. Good. Keep forward. Turn, tap, tap. Good. Good. Yep. Turn, tap, tap. Good. Keep forward. Good. Turn, tap. Good. 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 Turn, tap. Good. Keep forward. Good. Much better. Turn, tap. Good. Now slow walk, but keep forward. Right. Keep forward, tap. Slower. Stop. Very good. Lightly pull up on your leash here. Tap. Tap. We're gonna ignore that for now. Okay. I would like her to sit, but I'm not gonna press that now.
Okay.
So, what did you see there?
She figured it out quickly.
Right. And what were we trying to get her to do?
Just stay at my side.
Correct. Do you know how, if piecing all those things together, how was she able to decipher that walking at your side is what we're looking for?
I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm assuming because I have the leash on this side, but I don't know.
So the way most people try to teach the heel is when the dog pulls ahead, they'll either yank them with the prong collar or like remote them, right? So they'll say no, then they'll punish the dog, and the dog jumps back, and they'll go heel, and they'll keep walking like this. And it's this constant like yanking or remoting, and you see the dog jump back, and then you'll see the dog even look up like this because they're trying to go like, what was that for?
Yeah.
But because we're going in the same direction, they're not able to tie that together. So what we do instead is I give her slack to allow her, right?
Okay.
And then when she gets ahead, we're going this way.
Gotcha.
Right? So for her, she feels, right? She's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And she turns around, oh, mom's going that way. She catches up, stops, right? But then she passed again, boom. It kick in again, hey, it's back.
So basically when I'm out walking her, like if she gets ahead of me, I should just turn around and go the other way.
And tap, correct, right? So it's what I call the correct and redirect, right? Don't go that way, we're going this way.
Gotcha.
Okay, and that turn, and this is like the permanent fix anytime she gets ahead of you, okay? So like let's say for the next, you do the training, she's doing really good, and then a year from now, she passes you, turn, tap. You would correct it the same, okay? You can tap to slow her down.
Sure.
Like once you get far enough along where she knows what she's supposed to do, but only like in a setting when you can't turn.
Gotcha.
So like let's say there's a bunch of people behind you and you're going forward and you want her to come back, you could do it as a momentary fix, but ideally you'd always turn, tap to bring her back to your hip, okay? So here we started at 36, which I would say is the appropriate number, because as soon as you started walking, she locked up, right? And she goes, I'm not gonna move. So then I said, keep moving and tapping, and by the fourth or fifth one, she finally shot forward, and then she was fine, right? So that's shut down her resistance.
Right.
And what she just learned was if she goes into that state, pressure's gonna kick in and stay on until she finally moves. And as soon as she went to your hip, everything disappeared. So like, let's say she refused to move. We'd keep it 36, and then we'd bump it every 3 taps, 40, 44, 48, 52, and eventually 60, she goes, okay, I'm coming. She goes forward, and then I drop down to 36 because I've broken resistance. Okay, so this is where she's...
So you don't keep it that high if you have to turn it up.
Yeah, so we're overriding the resistance, but as soon as we get it, we dip down, and then she might resist again. And then you work your way back up. Yep. And what you'll find is each time you have to break resistance, it progressively gets lower.
Sure.
Okay? 9 out of 10 times, it always gets lower. And there might be an exception where one time it goes up and you're at 100, and then she finally moves because she's giving it her best shot then. She's going, nope, I'm not going to do it this time, and she's going to try to override it. So you might find yourself one time going up even higher, but eventually once you break that resistance, they're more receptive to the collar.
Right.
Okay, so every now and then I get a dog that whenever they become resistant, their number is like always 80 or something. But then we know, so then we'll just jump to it and make the dog comply. But eventually they do it less.
Gotcha.
Okay, so if we give up or give in when she goes into I don't want to do it, and I understand why, she's stressed, right? She doesn't like pressure. Well, one, we end up with unreliable obedience. Okay, but then two, behaviorally, all the other stuff that you're going to want to address, it's all tied to that. So we're not being mean about it. There's a method to it. We go low, we work our way up. She decides the number. So 36 worked just fine. But had she put on the brakes even more, and we had to go to 80, she's the one deciding to think, no, I'm gonna not do this until you can make me. So we just keep going up, and then finally 80 happens. She goes, fine, I'll do it. Then we go back down again. Okay? Questions so far about any of this stuff?
No. Will this get better with?
Yes. More exposure. Okay, because it's only been what, 1 week?
2, because I pushed.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I have, I think, 2 or 3 other dogs, similar personality type, and they're all being shut down, right? And every dog progresses differently. There's other dogs that you see that are just fine. Like I said, they're like nothing happened. But they're what I would call more stable dogs. They become stressed like anybody can become stressed, but they handle it and they let it go and they move forward, right? But then there's others that kind of dwell in it or shut down and go like, this is too much for me. But in order to teach her how to handle stress, we have to put her under stress, work her through stress, and then teach her how to handle it more healthy. Okay, so we'll see how she progresses with the program. Everybody's progression time is different. And then once you get to a stage where you can start doing fun stuff, it's when things really start to balance out. Because right now we're teaching the skills, right? So it's a lot of discipline. But once it's like, oh, I can walk her and I can go to the park and I can let her off leash and run around and play ball and all that stuff, it starts to balance everything else.
Do you think she'll get to the point where I can let her off leash?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So every dog is capable, in my opinion, of being off leash if you do this approach, right? Now, the variable is if I have a dog that's not social, I can't make them be social, right? But the owner can still get off-leash control.
Right.
Does that make sense? And it's really just building your comfort and your confidence in the skill. And as you progress and you start to see progress, you'll start to feel better about things. Okay, but definitely once you get to that point where you can actually balance it out, you're going to start to see a bigger change in her behavior. Okay. Other questions?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna do a few more reps.
Okay.
Good, relax your arm. There you go. Go ahead and turn. Tap. Good. That's good. Turn, tap. Good. Good. Go ahead and slow down here. Go ahead and slow turn. Yep. Now forward. Good. Go ahead and pick up your pace a little. Tap, 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 tap. 40. Tap, 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 tap. 44. Tap, 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 tap. 48. And this is what I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
It's okay. Tap, tap, tap. There she goes. Now back down to 36. And then forward, tap, tap, tap. There you go. Good. And relax. Hey, Maddie. I think somebody piddled in there. Turn. Tap. Somebody piddled. Good. Relax your arm. Good. Good. Slow turn here. Good. Now forward. Good. Good. Slow turn. Good. Now slow walk, but keep forward. Good. Go ahead and pick up your pace. Good. Slow turn. Good. Forward. Tap. Good. Good. Keep forward. Turn. Tap. Good. Right. Keep forward. Good. Slow walk, but keep forward. Good. Pick up your pace. Good. Slow to slow turn. Tap. Good. Keep forward. Pick up your pace. Good. Relax your arm. Good. Good. Turn. Tap. Good. Slow walk. Keep forward. Right. And come dip. Then slow down to a stop here. Good. Now here, go ahead and turn. Tap. Good. Forward. Then slow turn. Good. Then forward. Now slow walk. And stop. Perfect. Okay. Good. So this is technically something else we can address, but I'm not worried about it right now.
Okay.
So when we are doing this stuff, we have to pick and choose battles.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I try to push everything all at once, it can be too much info for the dog.
Yeah.
They're not going to know what to really grasp on. Okay, so the main thing I'm looking for her is that when she feels the tap, she moves to your left side, and I'm already seeing that, and she's actually moving faster.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed when you tap, she'd kind of come running. So when you went to 48, what I mentioned earlier, right?
Right.
The dog may shut down and then kind of give it their best shot, and that might have been it, or it might be another time. But you're going to see it most likely, if not by the end of today's class, sometime during this week.
Okay.
You'll see her like best shot.
Yeah.
And if like we see nothing, then the time to 48 was it.
Probably.
Okay. So you cannot teach if the brain is in resistance. So it's just like with the human. If someone doesn't want to listen to what you're saying, you're good luck, right? They have to consciously make the decision and go, okay, I'll listen to you now.
Yeah.
Okay. With dogs, it's very similar. Except here we're not using words, we're using pressure, right? So we're having a conversation and I'm going, hey, I'd like for you to walk on my left side, right? And then she goes, nope, don't want to do it because pressure sucks. And I go, okay, well, you're going to do it and I'm going to just keep going up in this power and eventually you're going to cave in. And once you cave in, everything's going to go away. Plus I'm going to go down lower, right? So she's tying all these things together. She's going, oh, I tried to shut down. It went up to 48. And then I had to give in. And once I gave in, everything went lower. But then that's why after that happened, when you would tap her, she started running more quickly. Because one, she knows this goes higher. Two, you broke resistance, so it's allowing the information that you're trying to give her, which is when we're not going in the same direction, pressure applies until you come to my left side, is now she's starting to receive that information and start learning what it is she's supposed to be doing. Okay, does that make sense? And I see this stuff all the time. You know, shut down, or even like the resistance. I had a dog yesterday who got super resistant and was like screeching and yelping and barking, biting the leash, rolling, grabbing the leash and all that stuff. And it took me like 3 to 5 minutes of a bunch of nonsense. I had to go to 105. But then after I did that, the rest of the class was easy. Okay, but that dog's level of resistance was just much higher, and they were much more dramatic about the resistance, right? So it looks different for every dog. But people get concerned because they're like, oh, is my dog hurting? And I go, your dog's not in a physical pain. Your dog's in emotional pain, right? I don't want to do this. So then we have to override that. And as soon as we did that, the rest of the class was easy peasy, okay? So it's rare, but it happens. So here, her level of resistance is pretty standard, okay? Do you have any questions so far about this?
So, okay, like if I'm just thinking about this in the context of my apartment, like if when we're coming out, sometimes she'll like bound down the stairs or something. Like, what's a good way to keep her from doing that? Like, do I still just turn around and try and do the same thing that I'm doing here? Or
in the beginning,
is there a better way to do that?
It's easy. So in the beginning, it tends to work backwards. Okay. So what I would suggest is, unless you have time to do that, or it's not urgent, like if it's the first thing in the morning, she's probably gonna have to potty. I just go with it, right? And then once you get out and you let her potty, get the business done, you would then find your working level, and then you would start your walking exercise. Okay. So once you go inside, like let's say, because typically, I'm gonna assume this of her, is dogs tend to rush home in response to pressure, right? So like, let's say you do 20 minutes and she's great, and then once you get to your building, all of a sudden it's whoa, right? Ideally, you would work with that, and your power might have to go up to override the stress, because she's going, I'm done with this walk, I just want to go home. If you're tight on time, all you have to do is stop, say break, and then let her pull. Okay? Because now you've made a definitive end to the exercise. So it doesn't matter what she does. Okay? If you have the time and you're like, no, I'm going to work on this, it's the same concept. You would try to walk, to your building or something. She goes, you start tapping, you turn, and you turn again. And then if it keeps happening, I just bump that number. Because now you have to override her stress response. Okay? So you might go to like 54. And then finally, when you hit 54, all of a sudden, you're able to walk home, and she's glued to your hip. Okay? If you start that process, but you can't commit to it because of time constraints, again, just come to a stop, break, and then let her go. Okay? As long as there's a definitive end to the exercise, it's perfectly fine. Okay? So when it comes to stairs, that tends to be harder because obviously you're going up and going down. That turning around isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. Is I would say after a few days, when you try to go to the stairs, you would just go a step, and if she rushes a couple of steps, you're gonna stop and then remote, and what we should see is she backs up. Once she backs up, go down another stair, then another stair, and you'll start to see her kind of like do this because she's wanting to roll down, but she's learning if she does, she's gonna get remoted. And again, you might have to raise that number. But it's easiest if you do a step, anticipating she's gonna go, anchor yourself, and in remote, raise the power if needed to get her to back off and back to your hip. We don't need perfect, we just need not bum rushing. Another step, right? And eventually, after you do that a few days, you can slowly go down the stairs and she should match you. If you go down at a brisk pace, she's gonna barrel down. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But I would give it at least 3 days of practicing this outside to get that foundation down before you try the stairs. Okay? Other questions?
So when we're on watch, sometimes she'll see dogs and she'll essentially lay down in this position and wait for them to approach her. And we'll like jump up and maybe bark. And I honestly have no idea if it's aggressive or playful or whatever, but how, like, for her to not do that, like, how do you suggest I react to that?
Okay, so what we're gonna do here is it's easiest to control a dog in a sitting position. Okay, so right now she's obviously not in a sitting position, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to correct this. Go ahead and lightly pull up on your leash there. Right, that's good. And you're gonna tap, 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 tap. Let's go to, we're at 36. Oh wait, we got it. Now here, okay, she goes back down, lightly up, tap, 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 right? And then relax. Then let's go to 42. And tap, 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 tap. Wait a moment. 48. Good. Tap, 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 tap. Wait a moment. Let's see what she does. Go and you're gonna just step to the side here. Lightly up. Tap, tap, tap. Wait a moment. May I?
Yeah.
Good. So what we're gonna do is with the shutdown here. Okay. There you go. Lightly up. Tap. Okay, this happens. Tap. Wait a moment. Tap. Wait a moment. Tap. Wait a moment. Okay, wait a moment. Tap. Tap. Good. Wait a moment. Tap. Tap. Good. I'm gonna go to 53. It's okay. There we go. But I don't want her between the legs.
Right.
Okay. So I bumped to the 53. I haven't used it yet.
Okay.
But what we did was, every time she laid down, we're saying that's not an option. So that's another form of shutdown. Okay, well, I mean, we saw it earlier because when you were moving, but it was easier for her to go from shutdown to moving because you're moving. Here we're still stationary.
Okay.
So because we're stationary, she's just like, well, I'm just gonna melt. Okay, I'm gonna disappear from the world.
Yeah.
So I kept going up, same concept, 36, 42, 48, and I went to 53. But once I hit 48, it only took almost just one, maybe two taps.
Yeah.
And she was learning, oh, laying down is not an option. Tap. There we go. Wait a second. Right, wait a second. Good. Good. Let's see what she does here. Good. So here, yep, tap. Good. Tap. I'm removing, tap, going between my legs. Tap. Tap. Good. Tap. Right there. Good. Wait for it. Tap. 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 Good. Tap. Good. Good. Right there. Much better. Okay. So the tap is saying that's not an option. The space between the taps is allowing the brain to think. Okay.
Yeah.
So when she lays down and I tap and you see her get up, she starts going like this, right?
Yeah.
She's looking for an option between my legs from the front, between my legs from the back, right? Laying down, moving away. Nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
You can sit, and you can sit to the side of me. I wouldn't care if she moved to my right, just because I'm picking and choosing battles.
Right.
What I want is a sitting position.
Yeah.
So I'm doing.
Is it okay that if she is like
Yes.
okay.
Yes. Okay. Because she's needing some sense of security. I'm giving it now.
Okay.
Again, picking and choosing battles, right?
Right.
In more advanced or later on when we're pushing her emotionally, we wouldn't allow that. Okay.
Yeah.
But what I care about most now is just this answer of sitting beside me,
Okay.
right? And the singular tap to mark, that's not what you need to do. That's not it. That's not it. And eventually she goes, what about this? Everything relaxes. A little bit of guidance with the leash,
Yeah.
directional pressure,
Okay.
but not a ton.
Okay.
Just enough to catch her.
Okay.
I'm not physically doing the work for her. She has to mentally and emotionally do the work, right? And it's hard for people because like, well, how does the dog know what to do? I'm like, they don't.
Try it.
Yeah, but that's why this is my line of communication and this is also my line of communication, which is why every time she gave me something different,
Yeah.
I was relaxing the pressure.
Right.
Okay, so there's more conversation going on than people see,
Yeah.
but by going up here, I limit range of motion. Okay, here she has all of that leash to circle around. So if you're looking for more leverage, we always choke up. Okay, because it allows me to stop her immediately, as opposed to trying to do this to stop her. Right? Good girl. Let me just move real quick so I can reset her. So like I want to see what her default is here. Right? So we come to a stop. There's no tension here. I want to see what she does. She's just standing, so I'm gonna go down to 35, lightly up. She shuts down, tap, tap, right, tap, tap. Gonna bump it, 42, tap, tap, bump it, 46. There we go, right, tap. There it is, right? See, and that's how that was faster.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and I just kind of, and there we go. The panting, that heavy panting, venting stress. Okay, because her brain is telling her, shut down. And now I'm saying that's not an option. So she's going, oh, my only option is to do this. So she gets conflict. That's where all that stress comes from.
Yeah.
I like to see panting.
Okay.
Panting means what we're doing means something.
Yeah.
It means she's really kind of going like, okay, this is some serious stuff. I have to do it, okay? People want to avoid stress. We can't avoid stress,
Yeah.
right? Stress is part of life. So here, I'm guiding her through it. First time took a little bit of time. Second time was much faster.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do one more. We're at 46 right now. Okay, good. What is her decision? Good, I want to go like this. She lays down, tap, right, tap, tap. There we go. Set. 3 taps now. And I'm only using a singular finger, right? And I do that to exaggerate just how much directional pressure I'm putting on her and really spaced out taps to let her make a decision. So the moment you see her stop, so when she lay down, she stopped. When she backed up, she stopped, but she was still standing, right? That's when the next hit would come in. Because when she's moving, she's thinking.
Yeah.
When she stops, she's made her decision.
Okay.
Okay, that's how you interpret that.
Okay.
So then if she were to stop and put her butt down, that's the decision we wanted.
Yeah.
We don't do anything else.
Yeah.
Okay? So here,
Is it easier, like, I guess, so should I have her sit when dogs approach now?
yes.
Okay.
So we're gonna
Not
build
try
this
and
together.
walk by them.
Correct.
Okay.
Walking by dogs is way more difficult than
Sure.
being stationary.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm gonna hand her to you here, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna kind of, we're
Should I
gonna
go back down to 25 now?
go to 36, yep. Good. And what you're gonna do is going to just turn and give the slack again and tap and forward. Okay, turn. Now you're gonna slow walk and then come to a stop. That's fine. Now you're gonna see what she does. Now here, lightly, that's okay. Go ahead and just bring around. Now here, do this. Bring the leash from behind to your left hand. Good. Now just take a little step back so you're beside her. Now here, lightly up on your leash. Tap. 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 42. Tap. 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 46. tap, tap, tap. Right? Now wait a moment, relax. Now lightly up, tap, 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 tap. 50. Tap, 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 tap. 56. Tap, tap, tap. 62. This is okay. Tap, 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 tap. All right, wait, relax a moment. Lightly pull forward to your left. Tap, tap, tap. What are we at?
62.
68. Tap, tap, a little bit of forward, tap, tap. 74. Yep, tap, tap, tap. A little bit more forward pressure. Tap, tap. Right, good. Hold on. Take a little step to your left. Good, lightly up. Tap. Wait a moment, lightly up, tap, tap, tap. Wait a moment. Right, now up, tap, 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 tap. Good, lightly up, tap. Right, good. Now, wait a moment. You're good, you're getting close. Go ahead and just step around so she's on your left again. There you go. Yep, up, tap, tap. Relax.
Good girl.
Go ahead and praise her. Go ahead and give her. Good. So, earlier, I was like maybe 48 was the hardest, right?
Yeah.
Now we went up to 70 something, right? But here, people wonder like, well, is the dog not in pain? They're so up here that they don't feel anything else. But if she was, we would have, right? You wouldn't have a lot of barking. But she wasn't, even at 74. And now there's all that panting I was mentioning earlier.
Right.
So here, you have a relationship with her, okay? So she's going by that relationship.
Right.
For me, it could have been easier because one, I'm probably doing more stuff than we're aware of, right? But also we have no relationship.
Right.
So when I come in, I'm just like, this is how it is with me. She's like, okay, I can't get away with stuff with Jessie, right? But she's going by the relationship with you,
Yeah.
okay? So that's why when we do training, a lot of people will complain that dog listens to the trainer but not the owner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's why, you have to do much of the dirty work, right? Otherwise, if I break all this mentality stuff here,
Yeah.
it's all
She's not
associated to
gonna- I
me.
have to do it again myself.
Exactly, okay? So here we're gonna go ahead and dip back down. Let's go down to 42 instead. And I'm gonna have you just circle around, come to a stop, and we're gonna see if we can recreate that. All we need her to do is sit at your side. Okay, go ahead. Good. Right. Tap. Right, tap, right. Relax a second. Now here, what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep where you're at, pull out and forward to the left. Tap, tap. Try choking up a little bit by where that second loop is. There you go. Yep. Tap. Tap. Now up. Tap. 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 50. Good. Tap. 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 56. Tap. 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 62. Tap. 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 68. Tap. 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 A little bit more upwards pressure. Tap. 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 74. tip, 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 tip. What you're gonna do, I'm gonna say tap, tap, you're gonna do 2 rapid, okay? Tap, 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 tap. 80. Tip, tip. Right, almost lightly up, tip, tip. Right there, wait a moment. Lightly up, tap. And just a little step to the left, yep, tap, tap, tap. Yep, lightly up, tap. Wait a moment. Right, let her make her decision. Right, now to the left and out, tap. Right, now up. Wait a moment. Lightly up, tap. Lightly up, tap. Tap. Right, wait a moment. Right, let her see if she can figure it out. Go ahead and take a step so you're right next to her. Okay, lightly up on your leash. Tip. Okay, yep, now tap. Right, relax. Now step back. Right, relax. Now praise. Good. So you can tell when you're getting close to the power because they start to fidget.
Yeah.
Okay, everything else was like, nah, not gonna work, right?
Yeah.
And then finally when you hit 80, she started to move and she also went, right? She whined a little bit.
Yeah.
The whine isn't, again, physical discomfort. The whine is like, oh crap, we're getting to a breaking point.
Right.
Okay? So here, I don't care how long it takes, I care that I get the result.
Right.
So once you start that context of like, you need to sit up, okay? Even if it took you 20 minutes to get her to do it once, you want to commit, okay? Because if I stop halfway and go, oh, I can't do this, right? I'll do this another time. And it's even longer the next time. So the first time we ever do anything, you always want to commit, okay? So what I would do here, so the way we would build this is every time you come to a stop, she should be next to you and she should automatically sit, okay? So we're going against her instinct, which is to lay down, okay? So what I would do is inside the home, you just need a little space and you simply just walk in a circle to reset her brain, come to a stop, see what she does. She lays down, you're gonna go through this exercise, okay? Get her to sit up. Once she sits up, you can praise. You can even add in food if she'll take it. Cheese, hot dog, bologna, turkey, sausage, the good stuff, okay? Once she completes it, wait a moment, because sometimes within the moment, they'll wanna go back to this. You wanna make sure she's actually holding that sit and then feed, okay? And then we reset, we move a little bit, come to a stop. If she sits like this with no effort or nothing on our part, you feed. Okay, so we're gonna feed her if we have to use pressure to go into it, and we're gonna feed her if she does it by herself. Anytime she does it, just feed her, okay? So this way she goes, oh, I mean, all we have to do is every time I come to a stop, I just put my butt down, right? Or if I feel upward tension, just put my butt down. Yes, that's all we need you to do, right? So the way we add this into the walk is every time you come to a stop, you know, and with the weather, like if she's not a fan of sitting on the ground when it's cold, it's fine, okay? But definitely when you're inside or in the home and stuff, you wanna practice that. So the way we use this with reactivity is if I see a dog coming, and I know it's hard with the snow, right? But let's say we had sidewalk in the grass, is we step aside, the dog automatically sits, and we shorten the leash so that we limit range of motion. When the dog comes, we tend to have a window like this, where this is where the dog's gonna be reactive. If not here, usually here, okay? So I'm watching her, and if she's just here, and she's just like whatever, and this happens, cool, okay? If here we start to see the dog approaching, and we see locking on or something, or you see the crouching, you would start to up and tap to get her to come up, okay? Now, if she's too intent on what's going on, you probably have to up your power, right? So in the beginning, we went in smaller increments, but once we went up to as high as 74, 72, the next time we went up in jumps of 6, right? Because I'm like, I know we're gonna go most likely up to that number again. I wanna get there faster, okay? So here, if she lays down, like lightly up, tap, and then wait a moment. Yep, let her make a decision. Okay, lightly up. Tap. Tap. Right. Almost. That's okay. Good. Just like that. Perfect. Okay. And that one was much faster, but also we kept it at the same level. We didn't go down that time, right? So if you see her lay down for a dog, you want to start the moment you see it, right? And if you're like working at 35 and 35 is working really well in the environment, but then she lays down and you tap her, you can just jump, right?
Okay.
So don't be worried if you don't make it happen. Just build off what you learn. Okay, so if like she lays down and you go to 60, she's not fazed by it, it's not, it's whatever. Then I go, okay, the next time I see a dog, I'm gonna go to 65, right? I'm gonna start higher than before because I know up to 60 didn't work. Okay, and eventually once you hit your number, maybe it's 80. Now whenever you step aside, I'm already at 80. So I can start disagreeing with things, okay? So the reason why we do the sitting position is because they're closer to your hand. So if you were to shorten the leash here, shorten it a little bit more, like that, right? It's not tight. You're not like this. You're just limiting, if we were to see something, how far can she go? If she lays down, you have to give slack. So, exactly. Okay, so that's why we do this. So when it comes to this, some trainers will tell you not to do this, okay, because it puts the dog under too much stress. But the thing is, you cannot control the environment, right? It's gonna happen at some point. So it's, in my opinion, better, because now you're just putting yourself there and you're like, all right, I know what's gonna happen, but now I have information to start working against it. And eventually, once we can get her to like not care about dogs passing like this, then we can build to, okay, now we walk past, okay? But if you can't have her just watch dogs in a sitting position,
You're never going to be able to walk by.
yes. And this is easier for you as a handler because it's very obvious. What's my dog supposed to do? Sit down right next to you, right? Because when you're walking, then you have to worry about, well, where my dog is positioned, are they gonna cross? And if their dog is on the left side, then we got person, dog, dog, person, right? The alignment is off. So the other things come into play. So this is a really good kind of controlled context if you can do it, I know the snow makes things a little bit more difficult. Yeah, so do what you can when you can, okay, until like the snow melts and then you can push more. The other thing would be stepping aside, shortening, and you sit down. We're building your habits. So like typically when their dogs become reactive or something, they don't know what to do. And they tend to panic within the moment. Here, every time you step aside and you do this and you do this, you're building a habit. So if you ever see me take a dog from someone who's being reactive or something, the first thing you'll see me do is always choke up on the leash because I want that immediate leverage to control the dog. Okay, so here you're building that same habit. So if you were to turn a corner and be surprised by a dog here, your first instinct is probably going to be this, as opposed to this or like you're going to just jump into like, I know this gives me the most leverage, and I've done this 100 times from stepping aside for dogs, right? So it's also building. Exactly. You're just building new habits so that you have a means of regaining control, and eventually, you could run into a dog like that and we don't get anything. But in the beginning, it's going to be a bit of the shit show. Okay. Questions on that? So let's see here. So your homework for this week is to now apply the healing exercise. So you're going to come out, let her pee and poop, get that out the way first, then find your working level, and then start your walk. If you have a nice, clear, open sidewalk, you want to give that slack, okay? Because we want to give her the space and the ability to get away from you. If she ever passes, it's an immediate 180 like this and tap to bring her at your side, okay? The sitting down exercise you can do in your home, okay, to make it easier. If you see a dog coming, if you have the space to do so, try this. If you don't have space and it's too narrow, you can cross the street or do whatever is going to be best for that moment, right? Dogs learn better in smaller chunks, so 15, 20 minute walks a day would be best. If all you have is a long, well, like 1 hour gap to do something, that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah.
But walking helps alleviate stress.
Okay.
Now you have another kind of tool to help break resistance, whether you see it with place work, whether you see it with her laying down or in the heel. Now you know how to work her through it.
Yeah.
And then just keep in mind reference points. So today the highest we went was 70 to 80.
Right.
Okay, so that if you're working with her at home, don't be surprised, if you're in that range, or maybe if it's even higher because you're in her home, right? She's in her environment where she's more comfortable. So that's a potential possibility as well. Okay. Any questions?
Not about like what we've already talked about. Just like the one other thing. I don't know if we have time. Like she does not like my boyfriend at all. And I don't know if there's like any way to kind of like try and make that better. So basically when he comes over now, I just like have her on a leash and leave her sit in her bed. But basically like that involves a lot of like me kind of like being by her side. So I just don't know if there's anything like additionally I could be doing to try and make her more comfortable with him.
Get a new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Walking her.
Okay, yeah, we tried that too, and she like, because we walked her like around the block, she seemed fine with them, and then I tried to give him the leash, and she wasn't having it.
Is he able to come to a session?
I could ask him.
Yeah. See if he can. So what I would do is I wouldn't worry about too much right now.
Okay.
I would say let's do one more class to see on how the reactivity stuff is doing, like being able to break this stuff and the leash walking stuff. We'll do another class on this stuff. And then after that, if you have to move your time for the week or something so that he can come, that's fine.
Yeah, I will have to. 'Cause I have a pretty flexible work schedule, but he's like 9 to 5.
Yeah. So just and you can let Maria know ahead of time.
Okay.
But I would probably aim no earlier than the 4th class.
Okay.
And even like a little bit deeper, like class 5 or 6 is better too, because
okay.
We're trying to make her more easier to work with the e-collar.
Right.
So by the time he comes in, a lot of it's been done and he's not having to struggle with her.
Okay.
But walking is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
If she's resource guarding you, we're gonna have to like think on it and see, because how long has she known him?
Like a month, a little bit over a month.
Okay, so that's not the ordinary either. Okay, time is another thing.
Yeah.
Like my girlfriend's dog didn't like me for maybe a month and a half or so, and I'm a dog trainer.
Okay.
But all I did was ignore her, and now she like cries when she sees me and she brings out a toy to me and stuff like that.
Because he's like, I mean, I'd say like he's pretty good with dogs. Like he doesn't like come in and stare at her or like, do anything like obvious, but she just for whatever reason hates it.
Sure. Yeah, I'd give it either more time, or once we're a little bit deeper in the program and it's easier for her to respond to the e-collar, we can incorporate him. So then she starts to tie the structure and discipline with him as well.
Yeah.
And walking dogs is like one of the best ways to build a relationship with them. That and ignoring them. It's like if I like walk my girlfriend, I just walked her.
Yeah.
Like, and I would reinforce this, but I wouldn't like touch her, I wouldn't pet her or anything like that.
Right.
And then I just ignored her whenever we'd be like, I'd be over or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, it took a month and a half, but now she loves me.
Okay.
So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. But definitely one more class. And then if you want to start planning with Maria,
Sure.
to book that class at a different time, so that this way you're not having to wait any longer.
Okay.
But otherwise, everything we saw today is normal.
Yeah.
Not out the ordinary, especially with the dog with a personality type. Okay? Good job.